My name is Veer, and today we are going to see different navigation options available in Cypress. Okay, how you can navigate using cy.visit command in Cypress, and we'll try to see few of the different options that Cypress provides in practice. Okay, so first and foremost, you can perform the cy.visit like this. You can just pass the slash over here, and whatever the base URL that you had given in your configuration file, it will pick up that. Or you can just give the local file like cy.visit index.html, or you can directly give the entire URL into the cy.visit. That will help you to open that particular website. Other way to perform the cy.visit action is basically whenever you perform or open any website, right? Basically it's a get request, so you can give a URL along with the method that will be used. Okay, so there can be post method as well. If sometimes you visit a website with post request as well, so you can specify that as well. So these are different options that you can have. Apart from that, you can pass additional arguments to this particular method. Okay, cy.visit method. So we'll quickly see a few of these, like body, like let's say you wanted to log into a website. Okay, and it has username and password as a body to it, so you can pass that particular body along with your cy.visit itself. Okay, if you have some headers to be specified, you can specify the headers. Okay, if you have any query parameters to appended to your URL. Let's say you wanted to navigate on a website, right? Let's say you had opened a page where you get the list of items to be displayed. On first page, say you have a 10 items displayed, on second page 10, and so on. So you can pass the query parameter uh, like say page number, and you can get the list of products or items on that particular page. Then you can have the log, displays the command in the uh, command log. Okay, so basically the value that has been written up next to the command is this is the default value. Okay, then the auth. Okay, so you can add basic authorization headers whenever you are performing cy.visit. We'll see this in action. Okay, then failon status code. Okay, so let's say you are visiting a website and you had received a 404 or 500 status code. Okay, so in that case, Cypress, what it does is it will mark your status, your test as a fail. Okay, so by default, by default it is set as true. Okay, then we'll go to these particular two commands like retry on status code failure. Okay, so what Cypress internally does, let's say you had received a 404 status code. Okay, but instead of directly marking your test case as a fail, what Cypress does is internally it will retry request up to 4 times. Okay, if this is set to true. By default, it is set to false, but uh, if it is set to true, then it will automatically retries your request. Then retry on network failure. Okay, so again, this is by default set to true, and it will uh, try 4 times before it is setting before marking your test as a fail. Okay, then the other parameter that we have is a timeout. Okay, so let's say you're working on a website that is taking too much of time to load itself. Okay, in that case, Cypress, let's say page is not loaded within particular time period, right? Then Cypress marks that particular test case as a failed. So how you can resolve that is using this timeout option. So let's quickly see a few of the these options in action. Okay, so for ready reference, what I have done, I had written some test. Let me just quickly go open that tests, and in order to simulate few of the scenarios. Okay, so we'll go one by one, and how the execution happens we'll see in the action. Okay, so first command is, we are trying to visit this particular website. Okay, and I have set the timeout as 1 second basically. Okay, so if the website is not loaded within 1 second, it will be marked as a failed. Okay, so just to simulate this particular request, I had given this particular option. Okay, uh, and second test is where you wanted to pass the basic auth information along with your cy.visit command. So let's say I'll quickly show you that particular website as well. Let's say you wanted to handle the kind of pop-up where you wanted to pass the information of username and password. Okay, so how you can do that is you can use cy.visit along with the auth option as a second parameter to this particular method is nothing but the authorization information. The other way to pass the authentication information is in the URL itself. So you can do like this, okay, where you are passing the username and password along with your URL. So this is also possible with the Cypress. Other option, that I mentioned, you can pass the post method along with the body in the Cypress. So you can do like this, you can pass the URL, then method, and what is the body that you wanted to pass. Okay, so that you can do. Uh, Again, let's say what Cypress does whenever it performs the cy.visit, right? It gives an access to that particular window, the loaded window, and you can get access to the native commands of the browser, and you can check. Here, just for an example, what I did is as I'm running it on Linux platform, I'm checking that particular uh, platform of the browser that we had opened. The last thing is that we wanted to check is, let's say you are visiting an invalid URL, okay, and it might return you a status code as a fail. So in that case, you can use this fail on status code parameter, where you can set uh, your test to be marked as a pass or fail. So if you set it to false, then your test will not be marked as a failed. But if you set it to true, then it will be marked as a failed test case. Okay, so let's quickly see each and everything in action. Okay, so first of all, I'll just only run the first test. Okay, so let me just show you that. Let's say you wanted to run only this particular test case, right? So what you can do is you can use it dot only. So that will execute your first test only. So I'll just do one thing. I'll just open the windows side by side so that you will see the execution in one window, and the code will be in the another window. So let me just try to refresh this particular test. Okay, so there are two in it blocks. That's it dot only blocks. It has executed two. So let's try to execute the first test. Okay, so verify cy dot widget page load timeout option. Okay, so if you can see it, Cypress has marked this test case as a failed because it is saying that page is not loaded within the specified time. Okay, so how you can resolve this particular thing is you can increase the timeout here as a second parameter, first thing. Okay, so it will be applicable only for this particular URL. So this particular test only, it will not be applicable to any other thing. The other option that you can do is you can set this page load timeout in the cypress.config.js. So here what you can do is you can just add a page load timeout and whatever the timeout value you wanted to apply. So this will be applicable to all your test, this particular value. Okay, so this way you can set the page load timeout at your test level as well as at a global level. So based on your requirement you can do that. Let me just retry the execution. There might be some lag. So let me just close it, everything, and then maybe I'll try to rerun. px cypress open. Let's see whether the Cypress has opened or not. Yeah, now Cypress has opened. Now let's try to execute on Chrome. And let's this use this navigation spec. So if you can see, it has executed as we have set the time out to 10,000. So it is nothing but 10 seconds. So the web page is loaded within that particular time duration. So other way to set this particular value is, instead of specifying over here, other thing is you can do is you can add it in your config cypress config.js. So it will be execute that particular so it will wait for that particular time period before marking your test as a failed one. Now let's see the second option. Okay, I'll just mark this only and I'll remove the it dot only from this. Okay, now it will be executing the second test. Okay, where we are passing the authentication information as a uh, part of cy.visit. So if you can see, it has executed two times, because first option we had passed is like authentication information as a parameter, and second in the URL itself. And if you can see, it has given the details as well, like basic congratulations, you must have proper credentials. Okay, and let's say try to do some changes, and let's see whether you are getting error or not. So if you can see, it has given 401 unauthorized. Okay. The next option is, where you wanted to post some information along with your cy.visit command. So let's quickly do that. So if you can see, it has started executing that particular spec. And if you can see, it has given the visit with post, and it has passed that particular information and marked it this particular test as a passed. Okay, so this is one another way to you can pass the information along with your cy.visit command. Next thing is, as I mentioned you, right, you can pass the information. uh, you can get the browser context, window context, and you can work on that. So you can get the browser context, window context basically, with the cy.visit, and you can check whether that browser has a correct platform or not. Okay, so just to give you an example here, what let's try to run this particular test here, where we are getting the platform of the browser and checking whether it's a Linux or not. So I'm opening a google.com here, and I'm just checking the context of the browser, getting the context of this particular browser, and then verifying whether it is a Linux x84 or not. Okay, so if you can see, it has given that particular context as well. Let's say uh, there is another thing that you can do is, let's make this as a different thing, right? Let's Linux only. So this test case will be marked as a fail, because it is not exactly same what. So if you can see, it has marked this particular test as expected, uh, failed, because it is expecting Linux x86 64, but it is giving as a Linux. Okay, So let me just undo these changes. Okay. Now the last thing in terms of this particular cy.visit is, let's say you are, you know, visiting to, uh, sorry, I'll just add a it dot only to this. Okay, so you visiting to an invalid URL. Let's say, this particular URL is not valid URL. So if you can see, it has given a 500 internal server error, and it is marking as, inter it is marking this particular test as a fail. Okay, so if you wanted to avoid this, fail on status code to be true, to be, not failing test case, then what you can do is you can add a false argument to this, and when you run, your test will be marked as a pass, and you can get the actual server error listed over here instead of, the cypress window error that has been shown. So this is the first thing that I wanted to explain you about the navigation part, like cy.visit part. Apart from that, there are, certain actions that we perform on the browser, like the browser back, the browser forward, browser reload button. So basically these operations, right? So how you can do that, we'll quickly see that in this particular section. Okay. So here what I have done. So let me just quickly go to the browser. Okay, and I'll try to, explain what steps currently we are trying to do, and, check. So first thing is we are trying to log in, then we are clicking on this promotion, and then clicking on the discounts. Okay, so if you can see, then, you can have this back button enabled. So I'm just clicking on back, verifying that particular URL contains admin or not, then, clicking on the forward button, and again checking whether this particular URL contains a discount or not. Okay, and one other thing is, once we log in, we are doing reload, page reload. So these things are performed. um, how we can perform these steps in Cypress, that we are going to see. So let me just quickly open the code window, and on the side tab I'll open the test as well. So here, if you can see, I'd use before each block, where I'm visiting to a website and then performing the login action. Okay, so another option you can do is, instead of directly passing the URL, what you can do is, you can add a base URL as, you know one of the no, one of the no, node in your config.json, and that can be picked up. Okay, so if you perform cy.visit, it will automatically pick up the base URL, and it will try to visit that particular website. Okay, so let me just do one thing. Instead of this describe block, I will execute the describe block that is below. Okay, so here, the first thing is verify go back or forward in the browser history. So once we log in, what we are doing, we are clicking on that um, promotions and then discount. Okay, and then what we are checking, cy.location dot path name. So it will give you the entire URL, and what we are checking over there is, whether it has a discount or not. Then what we are doing is cy.go. So cy.go is a command where, uh, you can pass whether we wanted to go backward or a forward. Okay, so here we are clicking the back button, and then again we are checking whether we are going to a admin URL or not. Okay, then what we are doing, we are doing a go forward action, and then we are checking whether we are having the discount in that particular thing or not. Okay, now, the same cy.go back and forward can be performed using the passing the value like -1 and 1. If you pass the -1 value, you will go back. If you pass positive value, then it will go forward. So again, whatever the assertions that we had done in the above step are now done in the uh, below step. Okay, so this way, you can perform the browser back and browser forward actions. And in order to reload a page, okay, so there is a command in Cypress, cy.reload, which reloads the page using cache, okay. So basically, whatever the cache thing, it will try to reload. And if you pass true over here, it will, reload page without using a cache. Okay, so whatever the cache data, it will not use it. It will completely reload your page. So before this thing, what it will happen, as we had specified the login, right? So before each, it will, log into the website and then it will perform the action. Now what we'll do, I'll just quickly save this particular file and let's see whether that particular things are happening or not. So if you can see, it is started executing verify, go back or forward in the browser history. So first of all, it will, log in, then, it will go to the admin URL. So if you can see, it has, gone back, then path name. Okay, and then it is clicking go back, then clicking go forward. Okay, so, everything is, it has performed. Now it will verify for the reload. So again here what it will do, it will first log into the website. Okay, then if you can see, it has called the reload. Okay, and after that it will, reload true. So everything has been executed. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you. Thanks for watching.